You probably already know what this video was about from the title. To plainly put it, a while back I was harshly reviewing Leigh Anne's EP, and I wanted to revisit it to try to give it a fair shake. Now don't get this twisted, for the most part my opinion remains the same regarding No Hard Feelings, although I remember stating that Leigh Anne wasn't ready to drop this EP because she didn't have much to say. And now I can confidently say I couldn't have been more wrong. Okay, so let me set the record straight on why I was harsh on No Hard Feelings. On my last review, I was still very frustrated with Leigh Anne for her On Again, Off Again debut, which is very ironic because the video that I'm referencing, it was supposed to be about letting all the negativity go and just celebrating whatever milestones Normani and Leigh Anne were hitting in their careers. However, I guess I still had residual feelings about her 2023 rollout. The biggest thing that irritated me was when she pulled a Normani, in a sense. She was teasing the album all throughout 2023, but said album never came. I felt like Leigh pulled the trigger prematurely and I got excited over nothing, and I don't like having blue balls. The thing is, I had laid back expectations at first, but then Leigh Anne would go on to interviews saying that she wanted to be this huge global superstar, so I guess I got ahead of myself setting my expectations super high, and I was expecting Ice Spice level of promo with great hit singles. Instead, so far we've gotten one blockbuster single that wasn't pushed, no album, a random book tour, and an EP that made no noise. I hated the confusion. You could tell there was no clear plan.
Is generally a no-no.
Leigh having up her debut era only to stop midway through, then stop, then come back to set up a mini era where she dropped an EP. It was a little annoying to say the least, and my agitation kind of reached a new level when I finally realized during Leigh's EP era that the whole blockbuster marketing thing was never going to happen. We're never going to get another My Love. So all that bitterness came out during my initial review for the EP. Not to mention her revealing so many intimate details on her relationship, blinding me to the many layers No Hard Feelings had. Now that I'm used to Leigh Anne being so open with her life, I think I can fully digest this EP. Although my opinion from my last review hasn't changed much, I recognize I was too caught up in the drama. With all that said, I'd like to focus on the positives and talk about all the good stuff No Hard Feelings had to offer.
We are going to get on to the fun bit.
No Hard Feelings is an easy listen, but it's not lethargic or too vibey. It's breezy, but keeps you stimulated. The instrumentals are pretty great on here. I didn't realize how many genres Leigh Anne was blending because it was just so seamless. I was looking online and I saw a lot of fan speculation that she might have sampled a few people. Some people were mentioning Rema, Janet Jackson, Celine Dion, which after seeing people's proof or the evidence of it, I think is a strong possibility. And if all that's true, props to Leigh Anne. She has an eclectic musical palette. Someone mentioned she sampled Janet's Got Till It's Gone on I'll Still Be Here, which if you didn't know, Janet sampled Joni Mitchell's Big Yellow Taxi on Got Till It's Gone, and Got Till It's Gone is one of my favorite Janet tracks ever.
I'm kind of obsessed.
Which makes me appreciate I'll Still Be Here even more. It's already my fave song from the EP, No Hard Feelings. Editing me here. So I did a little research and found out that I'll Still Be Here might have interpreted the Jackson 5 song, I'll Be There. It's something I found online and I can't quite hear it, but they do have similar sounds, so I think it's believable. Or maybe the fans were right, she just interpolated or sampled Janet. I wouldn't know. Interpolations are credited differently since you're reworking a song into something completely new. But the Jackson influence doesn't stop there. On Stealing Love, Leigh Anne actually samples Jermaine Jackson's Do What You Do. Another song that gets a sampling bug is OMG. It samples the Little Mix song of the same name. I can't quite catch how exactly she uses it, but she did rework it somewhere in there and she did it so well. I wouldn't have known if it wasn't for the credits. Also, speculations that she sampled Rema on this song falls flat to me because from what I can tell, she just used the same synthesizer he did on his song Addicted. And both songs have Afrobeats instrumentals, so it's like that combined together. Maybe people thought, oh, she sampled him, but nowhere in the credits does it state that he was sampled, so I don't believe it. I also want to say No Hard Feelings has stellar lyricism in it too. For example, Stealing Love was written so well, it can have several different meanings to it. On the surface, it's about a lover selfishly taking advantage of you, or it could be about someone helplessly being in love with a self-sabotaging partner who doesn't know how to handle real love. Like, the first lines hit me hard. Why you even lie to yourself? I don't need to see it in your eyes, I can already tell. I'm giving you all the love and the space and the time that I ain't gonna get back. No, you're still in love, you're still in love. You can take it literal and see that this is about her lover betraying her and she's going to be the bigger person giving them the emotional support they're not going to give back. Or it can signify how sharp Leigh's tuition is, knowing her lover better than he knows himself. Although he did something very horrible, she knows that he still loves her, and maybe he was self-sabotaging.
Girl, you better let this sink in, because this is just incredible.
Y'all, I ran with this theory so hard I went on Genius to plug in my thoughts. The next track I want to highlight is Forbidden Fruit. This track made me understand a little bit more on why Leigh chose to work it out with her husband. I'm just theorizing. All this is speculation. In this song, she comes clean about stepping out on her partner with Andre. She too is a flawed person. She too is someone who self-sabotages and makes horrible mistakes. So who is she to judge Andre when he has similar traits? Again, this is all my speculation. Let me know what you're thinking down in the comments. I could be reaching. Funny enough though, how Leigh Anne tells the story is what really intrigues me. This song references Adam and Eve. The story goes, unsuspecting innocent Adam is duped by the wicked seductress Eve. However, in this track, Leigh is in the Adam role and Andre in the Eve role, because it seems like in the song she is the pursuer and she sings about Andre like he's her pretty little boo thing.
That sounds good.
The lyrics go, oh, all this sweet temptation, boy you make me want to try, something naughty naughty going through my body, the way I'm looking at you. Like, this song flips the traditional gender roles and power, but don't get it twisted, there's no innocent victim here. The song shows how both parties are equally responsible in the affair, which raises the question, what would you do for quote-unquote true love? Because this song makes it clear no matter the cost, true love is worth it. Another track I want to talk about is OMG. This song is very sexual. I hadn't realized how sexual at first until I really looked at the lyrics and paid attention to the vocal performance. Did y'all notice that the song literally simulates adult activity? The first verse is foreplay, focusing on the emotional connection between partners. Then we get into the know what you need right before you speak, watch me do my thing side to side. That's when things get real physical and start to rev up further along in the song until it reaches the climax during the final hook where she sings on God, on God, on God. By the way she's singing it is very suggestive and kind of breathy. I think it's symbolic of the big O.
It feels slightly surreal.
I also find it interesting that in OMG's music video we see the color come back into her life, being in the throes of passion of the lover she's meant to be with. Okay, so I also want to talk about I'll Still Be Here. It's about sticking by your lover no matter what, but I think the better take is this could be the love letter to the fans and her dedication to stick by them no matter what. This could also speak to trials and tribulations Leigh faced in the industry while in Little Mix. She could be making her proclamation that no matter her past grief, that she's sticking it out, that she's pursuing her pop career. When she performed this song at the Lafayette, it literally gave me goosebumps. Needless to say, there's a lot of substance in this EP. I was wrong before. Leigh did in fact have something to say with this project.
I really got to express what was on my heart and what was weighing heavy on my chest.
The biggest theme that stood out to me was the value of true love. What are you willing to do for love? From stepping out on a relationship to sticking to your man's side no matter what. Plus, love needs to be cultivated. It needs to be fostered to last both emotionally and physically. And we all know Leigh's got that part covered. There's a lot of themes about female agency here, whether it be making bad decisions, boldly claiming female sexuality, or choosing to invest in a relationship. And I'm thinking she wanted to highlight agency, especially because during her Little Mix years, she didn't have much of it. In a way, No Hard Feelings was Leigh Anne's origin story. Maybe she can follow a SZA, Taylor Swift archetype, being a hopeless romantic singer-songwriter, showing all the multifaceted dimensions about love. I'm definitely going to be patient with her and have more grace with her from here on out. Also, I wanted to add that I think Leigh Anne is making a lot of statements with this EP, one of which is, I can be this global pop act without sacrificing my Black identity. This is something she's been trying to accomplish for a while now. I remember during her years in Little Mix, she consistently tried to represent her heritage at every opportunity. She advocated for inclusion and spoke out against anti-Black discrimination. Now, Leigh Anne's pursuit of success as a Black pop star comes with some obstacles. The UK isn't particularly known for launching global Black pop stars. They've done it before, but they're not the best at it. The problem is that the UK is a predominantly white place. Between England and Wales, there are only a few million Black people. With such a large white public, it might be challenging for a Black artist to resonate widely. It's not impossible, but people tend to gravitate towards those who look like them.
If there was a white male hiring manager and you had two candidates, one a Black male and one a white male, they're more likely, based on unconscious bias, to get someone who looks like them and hire someone who looks like them. You know, if we're not able to see representation, then the impact is that some of the younger generations, they're not going to feel that they can fit in.
I guess I could kind of relate that to my experience, like that predominantly white fan base will favour the girl that looks like them.
It is what it is. Not to mention, anti-blackness remains an issue. People stigmatize you without giving you a chance, which is frustrating. Leigh Anne also has a mostly white fan base from her Little Mix days, which can be a double-edged sword. It's great she's been able to attract a white audience, as a lot of black artists struggle to do so. But fans who aren't black might not pick up on the subtle anti-blackness or notice all the ways Leigh Anne is mistreated. Don't get me wrong, like, her fans fight for her, but they have obvious blind spots. Consequently, sometimes I think Leigh Anne feels burdened to speak up for herself as frequently as she needs to. You know, she can't always speak up for herself because it will become a problem career-wise, since the industry doesn't like it when you speak out too much, and people might see her as like a red flag. I've personally seen how vile some Little Mix solo stands have been toward Leigh Anne. The whole Jesy Nelson situation really exposed the racial issues within the fandom. As a result, whenever someone points out a racial mistreatment or bias against Leigh Anne, some fans will shut you down or be dismissive. Many Little Mix fans don't realize that the fandom isn't the safest place for people of color, black fans specifically. This situation isn't unique to Leigh Anne, though. Kat Burns has also mentioned this being an issue.
Last tour with the Q&A, the black artist would always ask a question, and sometimes it's majority white people, and I can see the fear in them trying to ask something about being black.
Oh my gosh.
But it's always nice for that conversations to happen, because I'm always looking at my other fan bases and being like, this is a hard thing to do, to be in a space with around lots of white people and have that conversation, and not wanting to almost feel like a burden to people, and you know, that kind of thing where you feel like, I'm scared to mention something about my race because you almost don't want to be seen as, oh, I'm playing the race card. Oh, people are going to look at me like I'm complaining. Sometimes you feel that a lot, and the fact we're able to have fan bases and spaces where we can speak about that, and black fans and black artists and black people or queer people or neurodivergent people can feel safe enough to say that in our spaces, is quite a beautiful world that we've been able to make with music.
It's so lovely.
In fact, I think one of the major reasons why Leigh Anne made her documentary Race, Pop, and Power was to call out the racial bias within the Little Mix fandom. Ironically, when you think of Little Mix, half of them being POCs, this wouldn't be a huge issue. However, Pop was designed with a white consumer in mind, so people of color aren't prioritized and they're barely represented as is, making mistreatment inevitable. This is why I think Leigh Anne is pivoting towards a black audience. This isn't the only reason why she's pivoting to a black audience. Let me just make that clear, but I think it's one of the reasons. Make no mistake, No Hard Feelings was a calling card to black listeners. My theory is that she wanted to establish herself in that demographic so she can launch herself back into the UK mainstream and then the global market. Because let's be honest, her modest white audience can't do it on their own. Maybe that's why she's prioritizing the Brazilian music market as well. It's a very diverse space over there. Ironically though, as far as I can tell, no one black was really paying attention to this project. To be fair, no one outside of the fandom really paid much attention to this EP, and Warner Records put little money behind the promotion, so not surprised. But in general, I get the feeling the black UK audience, they know of her, but they're not really keeping up with her. You know what I mean? Maybe it's just me, but let me know your opinions on the matter in the comment section. I'm theorizing that perhaps black listeners don't feel comfortable with Leigh Anne yet. Maybe because a lot of them just don't know her, or maybe because of her tenure with Little Mix, they think that she's like a black artist for white people, like Lizzo, despite the fact that both artists make black music. So, I don't know. Tell me what you think below. Lastly, I just want to talk about Leigh Anne's career. I'm going to enjoy the ride. I don't know how things work in the UK, and things have changed since Little Mix debuted. There's a lot of reliance on social media. Now everything's done on TikTok, or there's a reliance on going viral. But it sucks because eras feel empty now and small, but yet people like Ice Spice have this huge machine behind them with big traditional promotions and have nothing to offer. And I'm like, okay, if the industry is still doing the big album campaigns, can we give it to artists who are worthy of it and who want it and have a built-in base? But whatever. That isn't happening with any of the Little Mix girls, and it's not their fault. And I just want to add that the big blockbuster campaigns is part of the fan experience. Like, I miss having to wait on release days and having to, share my thoughts with a group of people online. Like, I don't know who to talk to about Leigh Anne's work. Like, it feels very empty. Like, where do the Leigh Anne fans go to talk about her work, to commune with others, just to chop it up? Like, I miss that. With Leigh, I have come to terms with her career downsizing in comparison to her group days. I think she's doing okay. I really don't know. She's booked a couple of festivals, and I was hoping there'd be new music out by now, but it's whatever. No Hard Feelings has 19 million streams on Spotify. She has 400,000 monthly listeners, which isn't bad. Right now, she has a lot of avenues that she can pursue. She can go back to acting. She can open for a larger artist. She can write for other artists. She can do features. There's a lot of opportunities that can come from a modest profile, and she still has pull from her Little Mix days, so I think Leigh's in a good spot. As always, thanks for watching. Please like, comment, and subscribe.